Welcome to the semifinal edition of the WyoVarsity Friday Night Recap video. I'm sports editor Ross Jacobson of the Casper Star-Tribune. Once again, coming to you from Casper. This video is sponsored by the Parkway Plaza Hotel and Convention Center here in Casper. What a night it was with 10 semifinal matchups determining the 5 state title championship games that will be played down in Laramie at War Memorial Stadium on the University of Wyoming campus next weekend on Friday and Saturday. And let's run you right through it. A lot of teams that will get back there for the first time in a while, and then some teams who will get back there just like last year. So we'll start in 4A. Gillette and Sheridan, the two best teams all year. We kind of knew that maybe from the get-go. Natrona was in that mix for a little bit, but really from about week 5, week 6 on, you knew that Sheridan and Gillette were the top two teams, and they proved it. Sheridan scored on the first play of scrimmage. Blake Godwin had a 75-yard touchdown run, and the Broncs really controlled things in a 35-10 win over Natrona. So they avenged 2 losses to the Mustangs last year. They get 2 wins this year, and they are back in Laramie. On the other side, Gillette just flat out dominated Cheyenne East. 61-6 was the final score. So Gillette scores 61 today, 70 last week. That's 131 points in 2 playoff games. Yes, they're playoff games. So that offense is just clicking. I expect a lot of fireworks out of those 2 teams when they meet on Saturday afternoon next week down in Laramie. That is going to be a great game, and I think really you have the 2 best teams all year going there. So that's going to be one to watch. You have to stick around for the 4A game next Saturday. Moving down into 3A, you had 2 road teams come away with wins compared to 4A, which had the 2 home teams win. Star Valley goes on the road to Torrington and pulls out a win there. Reese Heibel was excellent in the win, and the Braves shook off the loss to Jackson in the final week of the regular season, and they make it back to Laramie for the first time in a couple of years. And then on the other side, Green River goes on the road to Jackson and beats the Broncs, who were previously undefeated against teams from Wyoming. So a little bit of a surprise there, but if you remember back in week 5, Green River played Jackson really tough. And so that sets up a really good game between 2 West Conference foes in Green River and Star Valley. They played a great game in the regular season where Star Valley had to get a 2-minute drill touchdown in the 4th quarter to come back for the win. So that's going to be a great game despite Green River's 4 losses on the year. And that just shows how tough that 3A West was. I mean, you had the 4 seed out of the West and the 2 seed out of the West going to the title game. Cody was the defending champion. They didn't even make the playoffs. Jackson was probably the best team in 3A maybe this year, and they're not going to the title game. So, I mean, the 3A West was just a gauntlet. Those 2 teams make it out. Star Valley, Green River going to the title game in 3A. Get down to 2A. Wheatland, they look like they've put their final loss in the regular season behind them. They rolled to a shutout victory over Grable, and they'll be the favorite in 2A when they meet Glen Rock, who eked out a 13-10 win over Lovell in overtime. Glen Rock, a great story. We've called them a sleeper team all year, and with that ground game, they can control the clock and do a lot of damage. So, I mean, they're definitely not out of it. They've got some work to do. They lost to Wheatland in the regular season, but who knows what's going to happen down in Laramie. They were 3-5 last year, so a great turnaround for Glen Rock to be able to make it down there. The Herders, one of the surprise teams this year. When you go down to 1A 11-man, here's where another surprise comes in. Tongue River. Let's keep in mind this team didn't even field a squad in 2011, and now they're in the title game 4 years later. Just an amazing turnaround for Tongue River. They haven't won a state championship game since 1974, so they're looking to snap a title drought that goes back more than 4 decades, and they're going to try and do it against a very good Upton Sundance team who rolled who beat Southeast 26-14. I shouldn't say rolled. They controlled that game, but Southeast made it a game kind of in the third quarter. But Upton Sundance pulled it out. Upton Sundance defense has been really good all year. That'll be an interesting game to watch to see if Tongue River, who probably be a slight underdog in that game, can pull off their first title win since 1974. Down in 1A 6-man, chalk. Matitsi, Casey, probably your two best teams all year. Casey had the one slip up against Guernsey earlier in the year in that really weird 6-0 game for 6-man. But you know, Matitsi rolled to a win, and Casey didn't have any trouble either in the semifinals. So really a good matchup to watch. They'll be the first game on Saturday down at War Memorial Stadium, so that'll be a good one. Expect a lot of scoring there, especially from Matitsi, who's just been rolling people all year. Per usual, we'll get to the game balls, and to get this far into the playoffs and to make it to the state title game, you really need your quarterback to be playing well. And so we're going to go with 3 quarterbacks tonight who've just been outstanding, not only tonight, but all season. First game ball goes to Green River quarterback Tyler Vendetti. One of the more underrated guys. You haven't heard about him a lot this year. His numbers aren't gaudy, but boy, did he step up today. He had a passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown, and an interception return for a touchdown. So Tyler Vendetti, one of the big reasons Green River is moving on in the playoffs. They've won 2 road games in a row now to get here. So Green River, Tyler Vendetti, first game ball. Second game ball is going to go to Dalton Holst, Gillette quarterback. Another 300-yard game for Holst. 3 touchdown passes, a rushing touchdown. Nothing new for him. He's going to eclipse 3,000 yards passing on the year probably in the state title game, which is just absurd considering that nobody in Wyoming history had even gotten to 2,500 before he did this year. He breaks his former teammate Cale Meisler's single-season passing record that was set last year. So Dalton Holst playing really well, in control of probably the best offense in the state. Second game ball. Third game ball goes to another underrated quarterback and who we haven't really talked about a lot. I know I gave him a game ball earlier in the year, but Star Valley's Reese Heibel. They go on the road and get a win over an undefeated Torrington team who hadn't maybe been tested by the teams out west really, but you know, Star Valley, it looked like was in control from the start in their semifinal win, and Reese Heibel had 3 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown tonight. And you need solid play out of your quarterback, especially with that run game that they have with the Braves. If they can make that a balanced attack, then they're going to be hard to stop in the 3A title game. So third game ball, Reese Heibel, Star Valley quarterback. That's going to do it for this edition of the WyoVarsity Friday Night Recap. And actually, this is going to be the last one for the season. I know you guys are going to have a really hard time sleeping tonight. But next week, we'll be down in Laramie covering all the title games on Friday and Saturday. So as always, keep it here at WyoVarsity.com for all your high school coverage.